Dreams. Dreams are something that we all have. We all want to become something, achieve something, or visit a place that we've never seen before. And for example, some of us want to become actors, musicians, doctors, firefighters, athletes, or even YouTubers like me. And some of us want to visit places that we've never seen before. Like, if you live in the United States, you might want to go and live in France or Italy or Africa, Australia or Japan. You might want to go and live your life at any of these places. You might want to achieve something as well. Becoming promoted to manager, or getting a good grade, or finding true love. These are all dreams that people have. And there's just one more dream that people tend to forget, and I think that from watching Cyberpunk Edgerunners, a lot of people have realized that some people simply dream for others. And you might be wondering, what does it mean to dream for others? And what it means is you just want to see the loved ones around you succeed. You want to see them smile and be happy that, they accomplished their dreams. And whether it be because of you helping them or because you were by them, you just want to see them do well. That was exemplified by David Martinez. So to be like David, you have to be built a little bit different. And like David says, he's built a little bit different. Unlike all these other characters in Cyberpunk Edgerunners, David himself is trying to help everyone else achieve their dream. But by doing this, their dreams became David's dreams. And throughout the series, he had dreams for his mother, Lucy, and Maine. And the first one David would encounter was his mom's dream, which was for David to attend Arasaka Academy and become, one of the best ones, get into that corporation and all of that. And that was her dream for him. And this is relatable to us because pretty sure all of y'all can remember your parents wanting you to go to college, become a doctor, engineer, lawyer, something that relates to college, become something respectable and succeed. And just like that, you're living the dream that your parents want you to dream. They've shaped and molded your dream. But there's always the chance that, you oppose this and you go against this. Similarly to David and how he decides, you know what, I don't want to really do this. I want to drop out of Arasaka Academy. I don't fit in with all these people, and all these people hate me. And hate is a pretty strong factor into why, people leave certain places, because if they don't feel like they belong, they no longer want to be there. But David's mom knows this. She knows that people don't necessarily treat her right, so they wouldn't really treat her son right either. Despite this, she still works hard and wants David to achieve and prove all of the haters wrong and rise to the top of Arasaka Corporation. After hearing this, David concedes to his mother, or it seems that he concedes to his mother, and it looks like he is going to be motivated to continue pushing through until his mother dies in a car accident. And after witnessing that, David is pretty lost. Because, as I said, he dreams for others, and if he were to succeed the dream that his mother wanted for him, he would have been pretty happy and content with his life. But with her gone, he is now lost. He has nowhere to go, and he's just roaming around Night City. And one day, he's roaming around Night City, and he opens up his phone and opens up YouTube and sees the channel ZX12 and decides to subscribe to his channel, as according to YouTube statistics, about 98% of his viewers are not actually subscribed. So he decides to help him out, and he continues to go on with his life moping around until he finds Lucy. So after following ZX12 on YouTube, David hops onto a train, and that's where he meets Lucy, the white-haired girl that he saw earlier in the series. And while on the train, he spots Lucy committing some pretty illegal shenanigans. And eventually, Lucy comes up to David and tries to commit the same illegal shenanigans that David saw her doing. But unfortunately for Lucy, she doesn't know that David is built different. And instead of stealing David's chip, she instead gets caught. And instead of turning Lucy in like the good law-abiding citizen David is, not like he recently just beat up an academy student pretty badly, but that is off the record though, he decides, you know what, this girl right here, Lucy, she is the one for me. And he decides to join her and commit a bunch of illegal shenanigans, all so he can gain a good amount of cash. And eventually that leads to him going over to her house, and that's when he gets invited inside. And we start to see the difference between Lucy and David. But before I get into that, I would just like to shout out Studio Trigger's amazing work on the animation, voice actor choice, and the soundtrack, as everything Studio Trigger did really elevated the story and made each moment hit a lot harder. And one of the moments I'm talking about is the moon scene with Lucy and David. And that was honestly a beautiful moment, which was absolutely perfect. And since we're talking about this, we can head back into talking about how Lucy and David contrast each other. So during the whole moon scene and the entire interaction before they entered the moon, we can kind of see how David and Lucy contrast each other, and that Lucy is someone who only really dreams for herself, and she really only wants to go to the moon and doesn't really care about anything else. And with David, before meeting Lucy, he was lost, but after meeting her, he found someone that was pretty special and exciting to him. So after being introduced to Lucy's dream, he automatically decided that he would send her to the moon because it was her dream, and he was willing to put himself on the line to get her there. And this was a very heartwarming scene. And after his heartwarming scene with Lucy, that's when David meets Maine, the leader of the Cyberpunks. And while they didn't get off to the best start, slowly throughout the next couple of episodes, they start to develop a student and master relationship, with Maine being the master and David being the student. Maine is passing on all of his knowledge of being a cyberpunk to David, and he kind of passed on knowledge on how to hook up with Lucy as well, so he's kind of a mentor to David. And slowly through this, David starts to integrate Maine's dream into his own dream, in that he wants to see the rest of the crew succeed and have a lot of money, and after every mission they can spend nights drinking, dancing, and partying. But before we get into that, I would just like to say we're getting into some pretty major spoilers for Cyberpunk Edgerunners from here on out, so I would advise clicking off if you haven't watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners yet. When Maine dies, this hits David pretty hard, as he loses yet another person who was pretty close to him. He had already lost Rebecca's brother, and he's lost his mom already as well. And adding Maine to this, someone who kind of got him into this lifestyle, it hits David pretty hard. And even before Maine dies, David still tries to save him. He tries to put himself on the line to go and save Maine. And even though he knows that the odds are not in his favor at all, Lucy even tells him the odds are not in his favor. And this is another point where Lucy and David contrast each other, in that Lucy is not willing to even try at all to go and save Maine, someone that she has known a lot longer than David. And that's because she's not willing to possibly sacrifice her life and then not achieve her dreams for Maine. But David, he's someone who will go and try and do it. But as we see, when he goes and tries and save Maine, he can't do it. His hands are shaking. His gun is legit about to drop out of his hands. He's nervous, and Maine is able to see this even when he's under cyberpsychosis. He tells David to simply run. So what he decides to do is run, and he runs with both of Maine's arms into Lucy's car, and they escape. And by doing this, he takes on Maine's dream of continuing to help the crew succeed and have nights where they can party, dance, drink, and just have fun. Also, like Maine, he decides to get chromed up, become more chrome than skin, and he also uses the arms that Maine used as well. So you could say that David carried on Maine's dream for him, even though he died. And the only dreams he has left are his mother's dream of him going to the top of Arasaka, and Lucy's dream of her going to the moon. And now we'll fast forward in the anime a little bit, going after Kiwi's betrayal and the crew going to Arasaka Corporation. And through this, David is already suffering from cyberpsychosis similar to Maine. And even though he is suffering from cyberpsychosis, his mind is still on 2 dreams that he hasn't fulfilled yet. He hasn't fulfilled his mother's dream of rising to the top of Arasaka, and he hasn't sent Lucy to the moon yet. And those are the only 2 things that are keeping him going. And we can see that once he reaches Arasaka, all the way to the top, he made it. He receives a little bit of content that he finally accomplished his mother's dream of rising to the top. And now all he has left is to succeed in helping Lucy achieve her dream. And long story short, David was not successful in destroying Arasaka, as Atom Smasher was able to defeat David. But that doesn't mean David didn't achieve in his dream. He actually let Lucy escape, and escape with all of the money that was saved up for the crew. And with this money, she's able to go to the moon, and she does go to the moon. But once she gets there, it's a bittersweet ending, as she's able to accomplish her dreams, but she's doing it alone. There's no one else around her. And the person she wanted the most to be with her, and David, sacrificed his life and put himself on the line for her to achieve her dreams. So it's not really a happy ending for her. And I think what Trigger was trying to illustrate with this anime is that if you go onto the extreme side of only focusing on your dream or only focusing on the dreams of others, you won't necessarily live the best life. It has to be somewhere in the middle. You have to try and achieve your dreams, and you also have to try and help others achieve their dreams, so you can have someone to spend it with, and it won't be a lonely ending for you, like Lucy and David, because he was also by himself in the end, even though he did accomplish his dreams and he was happy in the end. But I do think that you have to be a realist and see that this is not an anime. The characters in this anime are not like people in real life. In real life, you might have friends or family members who are simply unmotivated. They have no dedication and they're not serious. And if you're around people like this and you dream for others, it's not really a great combination, because you're going to be stuck in the same boat with someone who's unmotivated. So then you yourself are not going to be that happy anymore. And the only choices you have left are to either drop them or stick with them, and hopefully they improve. And that's not really the best way to live life, which is why you have to be somewhere in the middle. You have to both try and accomplish your own dream, and you also have to care about other people's dreams and help them succeed as well. And I know that I said life isn't like an anime. You'll have people who are unmotivated and not serious at all, but there is a way to get around that, as if you are built different like David, you can help make the people around you become motivated, get serious, and then in 5 to 10 years, you and your homies will all be successful and live a great life. The end. And I think that's kind of the message of Cyberpunk Edgerunners. And if y'all have any more additional thoughts about Cyberpunk Edgerunners, or any ideas what the message truly is about this series, then make sure to comment it down below and I'll respond to you, and we could have a discussion of some sorts in the comments. And I think that'll be all for me today. Have a great rest of y'all's day. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of that, and peace. See y'all in the next video.